Video game movies are notorious for being really bad.
You're alive. Too bad you will die.
It's actually amazing that filmmakers keep making the same mistakes with these adaptations.
And basically my message is, f*** yourself.
How do these movies keep getting greenlit? Perhaps to understand where filmmakers are going wrong with video game movies, we need to go back and analyze the granddaddy of video game movies. The very first feature-length live-action film based on a video game and a timeless classic, The Super Mario Bros. Welcome back to another retro review. In this series, we go back and look at old movies and TV and see how they've held up over the years. Sometimes they age well, and sometimes they don't.
I don't know, Mario. Just trust me. I got a good feeling about this alleyway. I don't know.
I remember being a kid and watching Super Mario Bros. Because it had Mario in the title, and I also remember being really confused and wondering if I was watching the wrong movie because the film seemingly had very little to do with the Mario that I knew and loved.
It's a pleasure to meet me. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Bruh.
Super Mario Bros. Was released on May 28th, 1993, and it's the most 90s thing I've seen in a while.
We're going broke. We ain't going broke, Mario. We're already there.
It's notorious for being the hottest piece of video game adaptation garbage. It was widely considered a financial failure too. It had a budget of anywhere between 42 and 48 million, but it only made 38.9 million in the box office. This film was directed by the husband-wife duo Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel. I'll talk about these two more later on in the video, but in short, they were control freaks and have since been attributed with the movie's disastrous failure.
Hello, morons.
Hello.
But for now, let's talk about the film itself.
It's hot. Yep.
When you watch a movie, you're looking for originality and something that sets the film apart. But if you're looking for originality in Super Mario Bros., well, you've come to the wrong place.
You know, boys, it's very dangerous here in this neighborhood. You shouldn't wander around without a weapon.
Yeah.
This movie is campy to the max and filled with overused, cliched lines.
I'll kill that plumber! Where's Daisy, butt breath? Who are you? Luigi Mario. What, you got a problem with that? I got a feeling we're not in Brooklyn no more.
I'd call them the Super Mario Brothers.
Hey, that's the name of the show.
The script feels super lazy and rushed. The whole plot of the movie is the biggest trope Hollywood can offer. The plot is driven by the fact that Luigi meets Daisy on a whim, and it's a love at first sight situation.
She's beautiful, huh? Ooh.
She's nice. Go talk to her. Go on.
No, I can't.
Come on, go talk to her. What's the matter with you?
And then him and Mario literally follow Daisy around for the whole movie trying to get Luigi's pepperoni wet.
Dinner.
Do you eat?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a million movies with this exact plot line, and it's just bleh. Also, at the end of the movie, they turn one of the big bad guys into a monkey with a laser gun?
Monkey.
And for some reason, everyone just hysterically laughs. What's with movies in the 20th century making chimps the pinnacle of comedy? I just don't get it. But of course, this just adds to the film's unoriginality.
Cretaceous.
A lot of characters don't really make sense in the film. There's Mario and Luigi, but they really don't act like they're video game alternatives at all.
Luigi, we're the aliens.
Yeah? Whoa, cool.
They don't even get their classic look until very, very late into the film. They also throw familiar names in the movie from the games, like Toad and Yoshi, but at the same time, they neglect a lot of characters and well-known names. Like the big bad guy is King Koopa, but they never once use the name Bowser. And the main princess in this story isn't Peach, but Daisy. And Mario's dating some random lady who's not Peach.
Daisy. Daniela? Daisy! You too! Daniela! Daisy!
I think this movie is supposed to be the Mario Bros. Origin story, so maybe they were thinking Peach wasn't in the picture yet, but it's really not clear. Speaking of Daisy, throughout the movie, we learn that she's an exiled princess, and her parents were royalty from the Mushroom Kingdom.
That you descended from the dinosaurs.
We learn that her mom has since died, and her dad isn't dead, but instead this omnipotent fungus?
Listen, I know this is gonna sound a little strange, but I want you to meet my father. Come on, Dad.
Oh, man.
Well, at least he was my father.
But we never learn anything else about Daisy, her family, or their backstories. And at the end of the movie, her dad even turns back into a human, but we don't see him again after this scene.
I'm back. Love those plumbers.
As mentioned, the main villain, Bowser, aka King Koopa, has to be one of the lamest villains.
Do you know what I love about mud? It's clean and it's dirty at the same time.
His only real motivation is that he doesn't like mammals and that reptiles should rule the world or something. But he also exclusively only eats reptiles.
Python Pizza here, may I help you?
King Koopa here.
Oh, yes, sir.
I'd like the Koopa special.
Pterodactyl tail on that?
Yes. Dino, lizard, hold a mammal, no worms.
So he really likes reptiles. The last ridiculous character I want to talk about is this lady. In my opinion, she looks pretty badass, but she's supposed to be comical because it's the 90s and heavier people and women who aren't feminine were the butt of a lot of jokes.
And this girl was no bargain either. She was fat.
Fat, huh?
How fat? When she wears high heels, she strikes oil, okay? She's fat.
But anyways, earlier in the movie, she steals this important stone from the Mario Bros, and they have to go through a lot to get it back from her. But then for some freaking reason, at the end of the movie, when Mario and Luigi are in a pinch, she decides to help them?
Over here, Pudgy Buns.
Oh, come on. There's no time for that now. Come on.
What? She literally has no reason to help them, but she does anyways. I guess she fell for that Brooklyn charm.
No woman can resist the charm of America.
I know it was the 90s, and generally, special effects haven't aged amazingly well since then, but even considering that, this movie looks awful. This is the Mushroom Kingdom. You'd think it was something for Mad Max, but alas. I'm just so confused why they went in this direction for the Mushroom Kingdom. How did this transform into this?
A loyal child of the royal family. Goomba.
Why are their heads so tiny? They look ridiculous. Again, where do these design ideas come from? Also, their use of acrobatics and wires is hilariously bad. It's like everything has the Tanuki suit effect on it. And we have to talk about Yoshi. I'm so sorry to the hardworking puppeteers, but Yoshi looks so stupid. Apparently 4 different versions were built for Yoshi. A stand-in, a wireless version, a half puppet for the tongue, and a fully functional model. The fully functional model had 70 cables and required 9 puppeteers at once. 9! These Yoshi puppets costed the production a total of $500,000, which in 2020 equals about $922,101. So they spent nearly $1 million on this piece of shit. That just boggles my mind, frankly. And he's barely in the movie, too.
Scapelli. They beat us to it again. Another lost job.
Lastly, as I always want to look at the full picture, I want to mention some things that occurred behind the scenes. As previously mentioned, the directors were control freaks and they oversaw a lot of the production. Starting with the script, they had a vision for the film where they wanted it to be catered towards young adults. The production company thought this was a ridiculous idea and made them redo the script multiple times because, understandably, they thought it should be for kids. Morton and Jankel threatened to quit the movie if they didn't get their way, but eventually they gave in to the production company and made a kids movie. But they still included very adult themes, which is why the Mushroom Kingdom looks like something from Mad Max. And apparently there were a few shots in this nightclub scene that included strippers dancing in the background.
That whole disco scene, they hired a whole bunch of strippers from Wilmington to be in the scene, and they were too scantily clad. Because this was a, it was a children's video game.
It was completely cut by the production company, again, understandably so. And this was just the tip of the iceberg of the directors' strange and controlling behavior. For example, when they reshot certain scenes, they would tell the camera operators the exact aperture the cameras had to be at for certain shots. And since they were so controlling, the editor even locked them out of the editing room because the directors were driving the editor crazy. And it wasn't just the crew that was fed up with the directors. Just listen to some of the things the cast had to say about them. It was a fucking nightmare. The whole experience was a nightmare. It had a husband and wife team directing whose arrogance had been mistaken for talent. After so many weeks, their own agent told them to get off the set. Fucking nightmare. Fucking idiots. It was a nightmare, very honestly, that movie. It was a husband and wife directing team who were both control freaks and wouldn't talk before they made decisions. Anyway, I was supposed to go down there for 5 weeks and I was there for 17. It was so over budget. According to the guy that played Luigi, Rocky Morton once poured hot coffee on Exeter's head because he didn't like their costume. Like, what? Apparently the cast was so unhappy with the directors that they drank a lot on set. And who could blame them? So much so though, that the actor who plays Luigi fell and broke his leg during the production.
And when we got to the meteor, there was a crazy electrical problem that happened, and the electrician grabbed the power source and it started going through his body, so the electrician came and kicked him off the thing, and we were like, what are you doing?
So there was crazy stuff happening on set, and it was largely the directors' faults. Apparently Nintendo gave them a free creative license for the film, which in hindsight sounds like a pretty poor decision. Oh, no! Nintendo never really made any official statements about the film, but years later Shigeru Miyamoto had this to say about it. In the end, it was a very fun project that they put a lot of effort into. The one thing I still have regrets about is that the movie may have tried to get a little too close to what the Mario Bros. Video games were. In that sense, it became a movie that was about a video game rather than being an entertaining movie in and of itself. In conclusion, there aren't a lot of good things to say about this film. It's a piece of garbage, and it was created by garbage directors. The story is bland, the characters are uninspired, despite being based on one of the most popular video game characters of all time, and it's just an ugly film inside and out. The only redeemable quality is that it's so bad that it's kind of hilarious, and I think a lot of people have seen it for that reason alone. But let's plug in the Retro Review TV and see how it holds up. Yeah, so this film is really bad, and it's only aged for the worse in my opinion. Well, that was Super Mario Bros. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of the film. Let me know in the comments if you've seen this film and what you think about it. But that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.